Welcome to the AU Scoop. I'm your host, Philip Dukes, aka DukesTheScoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at DukesTheScoop. And as always, hit the like and subscribe button. I do want to make sure that you know that you can support in other ways, and that is by becoming a member. We got varying levels of support. $5, $9, $20. Who knows? But go check it out. And it's at the bottom of the description. All right, now that we got that out the way. What the hell is going on in Auburn? Everybody's talking about it. Basically, why Auburn is recruiting so bad. Why Auburn recruiting is going so poorly. Why is Auburn losing tenured commitments? And why is Auburn 70th in on 3 rivals and 82nd in 24/7? Why? All right, you got varying reasons. So we just, but I hear all of that. And even with me, so I want to be very clear. I know that Auburn just lost multiple commitments. I know that Auburn is in the 80s in the 24/7 rankings and in the 70s in the on 3 rivals rankings. I know this, but I'm still not panicking. And if you're Auburn, you should not panic. You know why? It's still early. Listen, let's just look at this, and we'll get into some more recruiting. But if you look, so Auburn's 83rd in 24/7. These are the teams in front of Auburn. I'm just going to name some of the teams in front of Auburn. Idaho, Oregon State, Tulsa, Virginia, Toledo, Temple, Memphis, Tulane, Miami, Ohio, Colorado State, San Diego State, Utah, Fresno State, Sac State, Sacramento State, Boise State, Vanderbilt, Cincinnati, Northwestern, Appalachian State, South Florida. Need I go on? There are a ton of schools that you know for a fact will not out recruit Auburn. Auburn will just out SEC some of these schools. There are some teams in America that are ranked ahead of Auburn by 40 spots that Auburn can literally go to their roster and say, hey, you can come play football here and take damn near that whole recruiting class. Don't panic. It's still Auburn. Still an SEC school. They still got a $90 million facility. Don't panic. They still play in the SEC. You cannot panic. Now, I do understand that there is some panic, but this ain't the time for it. If this was, I don't know, November and you were 82nd, I'd panic then. You don't panic in late June. You just shouldn't. All right, let's get through a few recruiting notes. I just want to make sure we put that out there. Recruiting wise, right now you got 6 commits. Could be soon to be 5. Hearing some movement on Denarius Gray. So I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn would have to do a really good job to keep him in the class, but I would not be surprised if he does decommit. All right. With that being said, you just get 2 developmental prospects. Okay. I think Auburn gets 5 to 6 commitments before in July. And you're right back in the thick of things. I think you have a great shot at Jace Matthews. I think you got a great shot at Jacquez Wilkes. Somebody nobody's talking about is Peyton Falzone, the quarterback commit Penn State. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a move. Who else is it? And I think you got a really good shot with a pair of tight ends, J.C. Anderson, 4-star, and Kentrell White from Midtown in Atlanta, who nobody's talking about, and everybody's saying, oh, who is this guy? He's unranked. Kentrell White, mark my words, Kentrell White going to be a 4-star, period. And he's 6'5", runs a 4.4 40. He's got 4.5 40. And he's got a huge frame. He battles for the ball, high points the ball. He could play wide receiver. Auburn's gonna have. I think he commits to Auburn, but they're gonna have to fight people off because the secret is out. I mean, Kirby Smart knows who he is. If he didn't, they Georgia may offer him as a receiver. From what I'm hearing, like Kentrell White, ain't nothing to play with. So Auburn being early on him, that really helped. So really not. You just got to be a little bit more patient, and you just got to realize that Auburn is still Auburn. And I know a lot of people may not want to hear this right now, and you want to be, in the doldrums, and it's doom and gloom. But dog, Auburn is not going to finish in the top, outside the top 25 for recruiting. They win some games, they're going to be top 10 again. I mean, it just is what it is. Auburn has everything set up. Now, how did Auburn get to this point? Now, you got to be more aggressive on the recruiting trail. And the financial strategy, I think, also hurt Auburn. I think I talked to multiple kids who took OVs to Auburn or took unofficials to Auburn. And NIL wasn't something that was talked about until, maybe the OV or more recently. But before then, you weren't, Auburn wasn't where you were getting the financials. You weren't hearing numbers. And when you're battling the likes of Ohio State and Florida State and Florida and, where they have an idea, Miami, where there's an idea of what you can get. And they may not give you a static number, but they put an idea in your head. You can start to see yourself saying, I could play for this school for this amount. Or maybe I could get that. You start to run that in your mind. Okay, well, Auburn, it's hard to put yourself in that orange and blue when you don't even know one of the main components of a lot of people's recruitment is NIL. And I don't think it's greedy. It's a part of the game. And I hate how people say, oh, that kid's just greedy when they don't choose your school. Nobody thought Cam Coleman was greedy. They're happy he's there. Nobody thought Deuce Knight was greedy. You're happy he's in Auburn. So you just got to be fair both sides, just to keep it a buck. But if I'm Auburn, or if I'm an Auburn fan, I'm patient. Now, and everybody knows you got to do it on the field because it don't matter what the class is. If they don't win on the field, it's not going to look good this year. You got too good of an offense, and you got too many weapons on defense. I mean, if you don't win 9 games at least in Auburn, I mean, you got to have more than a winning season. Like, come on, dog. Like, we know that team is way too talented. You got 2 talented quarterbacks. You probably got the best wide receiver room in the country. Offensive line retool. You got multiple draft picks along the offensive line. Probably the best center in the country. Defensive line, you got a first-round defensive lineman. You got 2 edge rushers that are going to play on Sundays. You got really good young interior players. And you got 2 NFL corners. I know for a fact corners are already scouts are already checking in on Jay Crawford and Ken Lee. You got a freshman All-American at safety, and then you got a guy who was really coming on last year in Champ Anthony. What is there not to like about Auburn that would keep them from winning this year? It ain't personnel. You recruited well. You did well in the transfer portal. It ain't the personnel. You got to do it on the field. So with that being said, Auburn fans, don't panic. I'm not going to keep you a long time. I did just want to put something out as somebody who's in the know, as somebody who, I talked to multiple Auburn writers. Shout out to everybody at 247. Shout out to everybody on 3. They do a great job. But nobody's panicking because they've seen this story before. How many times have we seen people win the recruiting championship in July and be nowhere to be found in November, December? Trust me, Auburn will be just fine. AU will be A-OK. All right, that's my time, folks. Hit the like and subscribe button. I appreciate it.